Let's start off with threshold. As always, we want to apply this effect as a layer. So we just come up to adjustments and we have various adjustments that we can add as layers up here. So here is our threshold and we can adjust the threshold level with the slider. Everything below the slider becomes black. Everything above the slider becomes white. We can park it around there. One thing to note about this process is there is really good separation between foreground and background. And that's because, of course, we are in a studio with really good figure ground separation. So this technique works really well when you have great figure ground separation already. It works less well when your background's really busy. Maybe it's around the same brightness level as your subject. And so do keep that in mind. As I discussed in class, there's also this dithering process that you can apply. Dithering adds noise, and what's really counterintuitive is that by adding noise, it actually improves the signal quality of the threshold. It adds detail when we use it underneath our threshold layer. Once you've applied your threshold, you can go in and add a little bit of noise, or in this case, we have a grain adjustment that essentially does the same thing. Of course, you can also go up to here and do filter, noise, add noise, but I prefer the grain adjustment. It lives as an adjustment layer. It's also maybe a little bit more pleasing because it's more filmic than pure noise. So here is dialing up the amount and the size to give us a little bit more detail in our image. So that's dithering. We can just play around with this. I'm actually quite liking where that is here. Maybe a little bit more, honestly. Somewhere like that. So that's pretty cool, and you could use this for a poster or a graphic. You could use it for a t-shirt, but just remember that all of this singular pixel information is going to be lost for certain kinds of printing, especially for screen printing. The mesh is not accurate enough to get all of this detail. So this is where halftoning comes in. To apply a halftone effect, we are going to want to group all of our effects together. So we select all of them, right click, convert to smart object. And that gives us one singular layer that we can then apply effects to. And it will be non-destructive. If we want to make any changes, we can, of course, double click on that and hop into the tab that it gives us. And we can make our adjustments here. So maybe I'll just bump this over a little bit, hit the X button, hit save, and that will then be reflected here. Okay. Now, my favorite way to add halftone effect is by going to filter, pixelate, and then color halftone. Now, what's interesting is by default, these colors are going to be, these channels are going to be different numbers. So let me hit OK, and you can see that that process is going to give us, of course, various colors. And that's cool and all, but it's not very useful for us when we're trying to reduce the number of colors for our screen printing process. So what's great about applying it onto the smart object is that we now have a smart filter that we can toggle on and off. And we can also double click this to bring the menu back up. And we can just change these all to the same value. If you change them all to the same value and then hit OK, then you will get black and white. You can adjust the radius of the pixels. So a larger radius is going to give you larger circles. And then a smaller radius is, of course, going to give you smaller circles. So a good rule of thumb is to just be okay with anything that is less than 4 pixels. Those are the details that you're going to lose out on when screen printing. Once you're happy with your halftone, what we need to do next is remove the white from this image. Okay. The goal of this is to have just one color that we're sending to our printer, one color that we're sending to our print shop. So we are only paying for one color, and we can put this on a white t-shirt, and a white t-shirt will be our background. Right now, white is white, and what we need is transparency. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to channels. We're going to hold command and we're going to select the top one here, RGB. And what that's going to do is it's going to make a selection of all of the white areas in our image. We go back over to layers. We're going to create a new layer. Since we're selecting the white area, we actually want to hit this invert button, invert selection. And now we're selecting only the black areas. Okay. Because we've made this additional layer, I can actually show you what that looks like. We now have a selection of just the black areas. And we have all of these crazy marching ants here of where black was. Now I can hit this paint bucket tool to fill the selection with whatever color I want. So I can go to fill color and I can choose black, hit OK, and I hit deselect. And so what that's done is it's filled the selected area with the color of my choosing. Say I'm not satisfied with black anymore, I can go to effects, color overlay, and choose a different color. Maybe something like that. Maybe a kind of bluey gray. Cool. So now we have transparency in the background and we have our selected color in the foreground. So all that's left now is to export. And as we know, what we're looking for is a very certain PPI. For printing, typically we want to print at 300 PPI, so 300 pixels per inch in this resolution field. And we can export by going to export settings, choosing PNG, ensuring that we have transparency, and putting in the width and the height that we want our image to be. And there you go.